FigFab presents building my Dark Elf DIY 3D printer from www.rp3d.com. In this part, we're going to be attaching the axes, gears, and the belts. Lay the printer on its back for good access to the underneath. Take this opportunity to tighten any loose nuts from our previous video. Remove the two belts from the package. They're the same length, so you don't have to worry about which is which. I removed the laser cut belt clamp just to show you how easy it is to put the belts in. Simply press them into place. They hold very solid. Now to do it for real on the bottom of the heated bed. Again, just press it into place. Grab one of the two gears that you found in with the belts and install it T-side in over the motor shaft. Make sure the gear is perfectly straight with the belt and tighten it with the Allen wrench. Tighten one of the fastening screws to the flat side of the motor shaft, and directly opposite, just tighten the other one to the round side. Now you're going to want to loosen the top belt bearings just about 1/8 of an inch. We'll use this added space to really snug up the belts later. Now thread the belt over the acrylic support and through the bearing. This part is pretty crucial because you don't want to cut it too short. The best plan of action here is to cut it a little long and just keep shortening it up. When it's the right length, press it into the gear clamp, just like on the other side. Now we can use that extra 1/8 inch we left at the bearing to really make it snug. All of this can be adjusted later, but just make sure that the belt isn't skipping and it travels well. Let's set it upright again and we'll attack the Y-axes. Remove the smooth rods. Give them a twist if they're not moving. And we'll put on the extruder. Again, twist the rods into place. Don't force the bearings. Pull them all the way through and make them like they were before. They're a little tight, but they'll make it. There they go. And the last one. Now attach the fan to the front of the extruder. Now that's looking like a printer. Let's get those belts on. Place the motor gear on the belt shaft, just like we did before, but this time don't tighten it up. Thread the belt around. And loop it around the gear. Now, this next part's a little bit embarrassing. When I built the Y-axes in the last video, I forgot to put the belt bearing on. Now, it only took a few seconds to take it apart and get it ready, but it was a mistake and I apologize. I'll put a post in my earlier video to jump to this section to show you how to put it together, but basically just put the washers and bearings together like this. Make sure you make it pretty snug, but not so snug that it won't turn. Make sure it still turns in there. Now to put it together. See if you can do it as fast as I did. Look at me go! Now let's attach the belts to the aluminum part. They're different than the heated bed. All we have to do is loop them through and zip tie them. Pretty simple. Again, we can adjust all this later, so just make sure it's pretty close. Run it over the top and through the bearing on the other side. Again, you have to be very careful you don't cut it too short. Always leave yourself lots of room. Put it through and play with the travel a bit, just to make sure it's right. When you think you have it, clamp it down, but don't cut it. Make sure that tension is just tight enough. You'll know. The teeth will skip and the belt will skip if it's wrong. After you move it back and forth a bit, the gear will find its proper position and you can tighten it up. Now we're going to use the square nuts and bolts to secure the smooth rods for the Y-axes. Do not tighten these too much. You can break them. Just make sure they're snug. Time for that final inspection. Make sure everything moves smoothly without any sticky spots. And you're good to go. Good job! Be sure to come back for part 5, installing the electronics.